Yep. Okay, whenever you're ready. Wait till Don sits down.
No, I'm good.
Well, we're live, so we're gonna be live. It's remotely.
I just had a pension meeting. They said that they think they're gonna bump the 90% funding date to 2050 from the current 2040.
That's not surprising.
Okay, apparently we're live, so go for
I
it.
can't believe that happened.
All right, good evening. This is a city council workshop on our budget. Madam Clerk, would you please take care of the roll?
Yeah, for the record, we'll say that we have the full council present along with our city treasurer, and we have Economic Development Director Dave Noble, who will begin tonight.
Okay, Dave, it's all yours, buddy.
Okay. Thank you, Mayor. So today I'm presenting to you our TIF budgets. We have 8 TIF districts, and they bring in quite a bit of revenue, but even more impressively, they pay right back to the taxing bodies a huge amount of revenue. In the past, the vast majority of the TIF funds have been used to match grants for big projects, and we continue to do that. We're just finishing up the I-80 pedestrian bridge, which was a big match.
Put that up so you can, yeah,
Just up high enough?
there you go.
There we go. We're just finishing up the pedestrian bridge. And the next new big grant project that TIF funds will match are going to be elevating Green Street above the 100-year floodplain. That doesn't show up in this year's budget because it'll be a year later. But our match is going to be 1.2 million, and the grant is 3.6. So it's like a $4.8 million project or something like that. So looking forward, we'll have a big hit in the TIFs in the upcoming years as we help pay the match for that grant and that. If we look at the individual TIFs, the first one on the top is the North TIF. You've got the numbers in front of you. It brings in a total of $2.79 million, rounded off, as far as income coming in. And almost all of that goes right back to the taxing body. So if you look at the budget, under professional, got $32,184. We've got $4,000 of miscellaneous. That's used for the community garden lease. I think it's about time to pay this year's lease. Got $8,400, that's for Jacob and Klein. $25,000 for marketing, that's set aside in case you want to hire Buxton again. And it's at the smaller amount, not the full-blown $50,000 because it's still COVID. And then we reimburse the schools $57,000 and change. And then the big line item is the surplus that will go to the taxing bodies next year of 2.6 million. So most of it goes right back. We have 65,000 for construction in progress. That's for the North Welcome sign, wherever that's placed. And that's it for the spending. We end up having pretty close to a balanced budget. Considering there's almost $3 million in and out, we're within 5,000 or 6,000 of balanced. Any questions? Let's move on to the East TIF. The East TIF will bring in about $526,000. And, excuse me, 527. We're planning to spend 8,200 on Tom Jacobs' office. And almost all the rest of the spending is returning money to the taxing bodies. 15,000 of property tax, $487,000, I believe, is surplus. And we've got 14,000.
14 is the surplus. The 487 is the taxing bodies.
Oh, it's the other way around. The surplus is 487 and the taxing bodies is 14.5. Those two are switched.
Okay.
Sorry about that. Yeah, almost all the income goes right back out as surplus. And then other expenses, we set some aside, $75,000 aside in case the NCAT parking lot project needs anything. There's a huge project going on out there, and if there's any cost overruns or things like that, we have some money set aside for that. Moving on to the East TIF. It brings in about $527,000 a year in income. Wait, I just did that
we
one.
just did
I
that one.
apologize.
Yeah.
Too many copies of the thing here. Okay, next one's downtown. Downtown brings in about $396,000 a year. And I got the income from Gwen at Tom Jacobs' office. She gave us estimates of next year's income and all that. As far as expenses go, we have a list of things under professional services. First off, we've got $6,600 for Tom Jacob, $3,000 for NCICG just for general grant applications, $5,000 for Basali Carey Alstead for facade work, and $20,000 for the alley at Jackson Street doing design work. So between the alley, resurfacing that, putting the power underground, designing curb widenings and stuff like that along the Woolworth building. That's a number. I think we had some of that in there last year, and we just carried it to this year. So that's all the stuff under professional services. As far as transfers, we transfer to businesses 89,000 and change. And then there's a lot of construction in progress. A lot of the money's been going to here. The facade program for 2020, quite frankly, didn't happen. All the businesses were broke because of COVID, so they didn't do their facades. So here it is again. And so we have $80,000 carryover from the facade program from last year. I've got $10,000 for some plantings downtown. We're talking about some outdoor dining barriers. The city did a bunch of barriers last year. It worked out really good. Looking at some more decorative ones to continue doing that. There's money in there for parking lot maintenance. That dollar amount, $51,500, came from Tom Duttlinger's estimate. Have $25,000 to finish the wayfinding signs project. And then we're setting aside a lot of money for the Washington Park area, Jackson Street Plaza, the alley for construction. Again, that was in the budget last year and not spent. And I think there's a good chance it'll be moving forward. And then some money in there for downtown recycling and cigarette receptacles. And that closes that one out.
Dave?
Yeah.
For the parking lot maintenance, was that geared at a specific parking lot or just in general, or?
I don't know. I'd have to ask Tom. I think he had some specific ones.
South of the Jordan Block. I don't know what that's called.
Oh, right in the Y between the two streets.
Between the two bridges?
Yeah, isn't that what we're looking at, Marla?
Yeah, that lot, and then also, this one right over here, by First, am I pointing the wrong direction? This one over here,
The Hassel lot.
yes,
Yeah, that's in pretty bad shape.
yeah.
The auto industrial park TIF, it's one of the ones that brings in some money that has some cash to be spent. It brings in $241,000 a year. Out of that, we pay dues for our economic development district. This is the district that got us the $2 million grant to build it out last time, and there'll be more grants coming. We have some miscellaneous in there for $8,000. Trying to remember what that is. Oh, CSX sidetrack agreement. We pay CSX about that much every year. And then we got a breakdown of some more professional contractual costs. Those are all repetitive things. Tom Jacob, NCICG district dues, and Torselli. Maybe we can save $5,000 if I got the district dues in there twice. Either way. No, I don't. It's just the two. Torselli and Tom Jacob adds up to the 26,100. Too many questions about the industrial park? No big projects. There's things we could do. The city's contemplated a drainage project to put some drainage tiles under the ditches on Warehouse Drive. So it's possible to mow them and maintain them. Right now, it's just cattails and things. That project was looked at, but hasn't been confirmed we want to move forward yet. So we're waiting for Tom to consider that.
How much is left on that one? How many years?
It seems like if I were to pick a number off the top of my head, it'd be 2029, I think is the ending date. So 6 or 7 years,
Okay.
maybe less, you know,
And that one hasn't been extended? That's.
it has not been extended, no. Okay, next one is the canal TIF. If you recall, this one is at a negative balance. Ever since we transferred out the revolving loan fund, we had loaned $500,000 to a sewer project. They told us not to do that, so we had to take it out of there, and then they gave us the money back, and it's in the enterprise fund. But this has had a negative balance ever since. We haven't transferred in to fill it. The canal TIF brings in about 1.68 million. A big chunk of that is from Heritage Harbor. We have professional costs of 41,380 under 150, and then we have just a couple professional costs. We have 17,840 for Tom Jacobs fees, and he does a huge amount of work in the canal TIF because of all those little parcels at Heritage Harbor. It's a big job. And we have 25,000 set aside for Tesca as they do their downtown waterfront redesign, and those bills come in. There's some money that gets paid out of the TIF. Some gets paid out of this TIF. Some gets paid out of the Route 71 TIF because there's a lot of design work going up there, and then some out of the general fund or enterprise fund. I don't know which one. As far as construction in progress, Tom Duttlinger had $124,000 of resurfacing work and fixing streets in the canal TIF. And then we had $25,000 for the West Welcome sign. That'd be a sign out there on Route 6 on the west end of town, a smaller one, not as fancy as the one up by Route 23. Dayton TIF. This is another one that's done extremely well. Right after the Dayton TIF was created, we were fortunate enough to land in the new Kohl's Distribution Center and the new Clover Distribution Center. And so that's been working very well. It brings about $817,000. Of that, we spend $63,000 on various dues. These goes to things like the chamber and NCI EDC to market our region, and Starved Rock Country Alliance, and a whole bunch of them. It's the exact same amount we budgeted last year. And then for professional services, it goes to Tom Jacob and Torselli, pays for them to keep working. And a whole bunch of money goes to the schools. We transfer out projected $287,000 to the schools, and about $3,000 for property taxes to get rebated. And we don't have any large projects in the Dayton TIF planned at this point. So I'm sure more will be coming. Commercial TIF brings in about $304,000. That TIF has been extremely successful ever since it was created. The whole north side of town changed. And we've got some transfers here. Paying for Saks Tails Out to Business for $13,000. We got $53,000, $13,000 sales tax, $53,000 of real estate tax rebates. And then transfers to taxing bodies of $114,000. So like most of our TIFs, the biggest line item is transferring money to the taxing bodies. We've got money for Tom Jacob, and that's all that's in this budget at this time.
Dave, is this one all outside of Ottawa Elementary's district?
Mostly is. There might be a very small amount, maybe one parcel or something like that. Almost all of it's north. Yeah. And that brings us to our newest TIF, the Route 71 TIF. There's not been a significant building constructed in that TIF yet since it was created. It brings in about $11,000 a year. We have some items budgeted in there. We have to pay Tom Jacob $8,700 and change. We have a couple tax rebates, $900, $2,500 to the schools. And then we budgeted a welcome sign up there too, up there by the interchange on Route 71, another one of the smaller ones, $25,000 as a holding spot. And that's it for the Route 71 TIF. All told, our TIF budget, when you add them all together, balances. We make a little bit of net income, and so we're on the positive side.
Dave, did you confirm that issue where we purchased the central school property?
I did. I talked to Shelley, and indeed it was rebated correctly. That was taken care of.
And it's already been repaid?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, it was the year after like it was supposed to be.
Okay.
Yeah.
Anyone have any questions for Dave? Comments?
Yeah. As you see in some of these TIFs, we're not spending all the money right now. And that's because we know we have a $1.2 million grant match coming up to elevate Green Street. So we have to be holding the purse strings back as we look forward to the future. All right. Thank you.
Dave, are we limited to what tips we can use to match that grant, or does it have to be like the East Side grant, or?
We're allowed to transfer dollars from TIF to TIF in order to do that. We just have to, all the TIFs have street work in them, so all the TIF plans qualify to pay for street work. And so it's just a matter of transferring the dollars to the canal TIF, which is where it's going to be built.
Anyone else?
Nope.
Thank you, Dave.
Okay, if you guys all go to the very front of your binders, because there isn't a playground and rec tab,
Where are we going?
the very front. So Mark Astle turned in his playground and rec and pool budgets to me. They're pretty straightforward. We can go through them real quick. The first one is the amount we tax levy for him, the first dollar line item that was approved in December. The rest is similar to years past. Since we didn't really have a program last year, he cut them way back, a couple of them, because he's not sure on how participation is going to be. So the income on that one is $321,847. And then if you go to his line items where he does the expenses, he increased a lot of his payroll ones because of the minimum wage going up this coming year. And then on the notes that he has here from the meeting, they basically based their numbers off of 2019 a little bit, because last year, like I said, we really didn't have a program. Those line items are all, he's anticipating fewer summer camps. He said if he's wrong and we get more participation, the income will offset the overages on the expenses. Regarding the softball program, he thinks it should be less because we already had the softballs ordered and then we didn't have a season. What else does he say on here? Basically, they just did, as a board, I guess they discussed some reductions regarding availability of camps and reduced participation. And their board did approve this budget. If we have any questions, he said I can email him after the fact. What they usually do is they go through everything they normally do, and then whatever's left over from their income, they put that number in their construction in progress. So that's what happened this year. So this year for construction in progress, they have 42,897 left for projects that they want to do. And I don't believe that they had anything quite earmarked at this time, or at least he didn't give me a note saying he had something earmarked. I don't know if Marla's got any more info on that. I didn't know if you, I don't think you, I think you weren't at this last one, maybe when they approved this. I don't see your name on the minutes. The second part of their budget, the next couple pages off that is the pool. I guess they just put something together. I'm not sure what the plan is with the pool. They left the transfer in there that we normally do of $100,000 from the general corporate fund. I don't know if we're planning on opening the pool, not opening the pool. We haven't really talked about it, so I don't know. Anyway, they basically just went ahead business as usual as if the pool was opening, and put $50,000 worth of repairs in the repair line item. So that fund does have money in it right now because we did the transfer and then didn't open
Right.
last time. So there's like 80 some grand in sitting in there already, so.
Well, wasn't there a bunch of work that needed to be done last year too, and we didn't do it? Because of the
Right,
COVID.
we still have to do asbestos. We were just talking about this today, but I mean, I would like to have the pool open this year, but we have to move because there's like 3 or 4 major things that need to be done. And I think, and they know, and it is within this budget, but we're running out of time, so.
Well, I know if you remember a while back, there was I don't know if it was an email or a text message going back and forth, but the rec board had floated this idea about partnering up with the YMCA. Because a part of the problem we have is getting somebody to manage the pool. It's usually a school teacher, and if they take a couple weeks vacation and the pool's not open, where the Y, if they were willing to do something like that, they would have access to maintenance people, lifeguards. And so I talked to Joe Capice about it, and he said that actually cities and YMCA's partner up all over the country and do that. So the Y is interested in doing that. John Levy had asked me, you know, what the thoughts were, and I think I sent a group text to the council and stuff. And it sounded like everybody was willing to look into it. And at the same time, the city of Peru was looking at, they had a lot of people wanting them to look at putting a swimming pool in. And I believe the cost came between $5 and $6.5 million. So I was thinking that, you know, we might be better off to, you know, commit to some major improvements at the pool. It's going to be a lot less than a new pool, but I think realistically, you're going to be looking at big expenditures. My understanding that one of the things they'll have to do is bring it up to compliance with the ADA. But there may also be some new regulations due to COVID. But I know that Rec Board has looked at the mechanicals of it, and I think they did contract with somebody for the asbestos.
Yeah.
So at some point, we're gonna have to make that decision, and myself, if we could, I mean, if we could get the pool up and running and up to code and looking good for $1 million or less, I think.
Well, making a deal with the YMCA would be helpful too. That actually could be open a little more than actually is now, which.
That's what I was gonna say. I mean, it probably could be open the full 3 months instead of just 8 or 9 weeks or 10 weeks, whatever it is.
Well, and the other thing too is, you know, they're gonna have the people that are maintaining the pool every day, year round. As opposed to, you know, we're calling somebody that, you know, does it as a sideline or something.
I don't think it's in our thoughts to actually want to totally close the pool anyway. I mean, fares are there. We need to make them.
Right, but I think at some point, we got to address the compliance issues,
Right.
and it's gonna cost money, and I mean, I'm sure the lockers need to be updated. I mean, if we're gonna do it
Do it right.
and I'm sure the YMCA also would be willing to manage it if it's a nice place.
Right.
I think it merits a rather lengthy discussion on the future of the pool and repairs we would do or what the demise is gonna be. You know, not necessarily whether we're gonna close the pool, or whether we're gonna actually redo the pool or, you know, what renovation costs. Because again, it is gonna be substantial cost. Throw $1 million worth of repairs into a pool that, you know, might look at it and, oh, might be another $1 million to do some other repairs on it. You know, might be beneficial to hire a professional that does pool renovations to have them actually take a look at it.
Actually, that's what we're doing. We, in 2011, there was an architect firm that did a study on the pool and what was needed to be done. And that firm, I believe, is in LaSalle. And Dudlinger reached out to them and asked them if they could just, you know, they already have all the details. If they could just update that document from 10 years ago and add in all the new regulations and ADA compliance stuff.
Okay.
So, and I think that'll probably be minimal to have them just update their own. And then we should have some idea where we're at.
That's all we have for tonight, unless somebody has anything else.
That's it on the pool?
That's it for tonight.
That's it?
That's it.
That's only half an hour.
I know, I figured Dave
We're
was
have
gonna
some
take
long
longer.
ones, aren't
Yep,
we? Definitely gonna have some long ones.
yep.
Anyone else have anything?
We don't have one next week, correct?
Correct. We will, March 4th will be the next one. Yep.
We still online?
Can you tell Andrew to, because I don't have his number.
All right,
Good night.
stand adjourned.